There was a beautiful village surrounded by towering mountains, with rivers scattered along its sides, which gave it a special charm. The land there was fertile and flourished with greenery, and the village was located on a lively trade route. The inhabitants of this village relied on fishing and trade for their livelihoods, where they used to make threads, clothes, and leather, and sell them to the merchants of the caravans that traversed the region. There was a person named Mathieu, the son of the village chief, on a hunting trip with his friends Adrian and Briden. On their way back to the village, he saw his beloved Anastasia, as she was on her way to the river with her friend Elan to fetch water. He smiled at her, saying, "I have returned from a long and arduous journey, where I was a fisherman, so I hope that my heart's compassion is sincere, for the nets of love are stronger than my arrows in hunting." But suddenly, they heard sounds coming from the village as it was under attack from invaders. Matthew rushed with his companions, and they began to fight bravely despite the large numbers of the invaders. They managed to overcome them, while the others fled hastily. The losses were minimal, which led the village chief to decide to build a wall to protect the village from the attackers. Preparations for the construction of the wall began at a time coinciding with the start of the trading season, when some caravans arrived in the village. Local products witnessed a great demand due to their quality and vibrant colors. A few days later, Mathieu met his beloved Anastasia in the village and told her that he intends to go hunting. Anastasia said, "Every day that passes without seeing you tears my soul apart, for I suffer from the arrows of separation." Mathieu replied, "Your face may be absent from my eyes so that my soul longs for you, but you are in my heart, and my heart always awaits you with longing." Mathieu set out with Adrian and Briden on a hunting trip, and after several days of pursuit, they found a gazelle. During their journey, they encountered a group of men who they thought were bandits. Mathieu asked, "Who are you?" One of them replied, "I am Philip. Our village was attacked by someone named Justin, who possesses immense power. He destroyed our village and killed all its inhabitants, and we only managed to escape." Another explained that this person is planning to attack other villages soon. Mathieu responded, saying, "If you wish to join our village, we welcome you, and we will be a help to each other." The leader Justin attacked the village of Matthew, resulting in the killing of men, the elderly, and most of the women, in addition to a few children. My parents, Anastasia, met their demise in that incident. Anastasia rushed towards them, crying and tears streaming from her eyes. When Justin saw her, he ordered that she be tied up without any harm coming to her, and announced that they would take her to King John. While Matthew and his companions were on their way back, one of the survivors approached them to inform them that they were facing a major attack. They rushed on their horses towards the village, but the time had passed. When they arrived, they saw the village destroyed and fires raging everywhere. Matthew rushed towards his father, but he discovered that he had passed away. His mother was still alive, but she was in her last breaths, and she said to him, "My son, take care of yourself, for many have been killed, and some women and children have been abducted, among them Anastasia." Moments later, his mother passed away, and Matthew broke into tears. His friends Adrian and Briden joined him, and they said to him, "We have all lost those we love." "Mathieu, who attacked us," said Philip. That Justin said Mathieu. "We are not sure of the identity of the attackers," Philip reported. That Justin, one of his soldiers, had been killed, indicating that he does not care about the fate of his soldiers. Meanwhile, Mathieu asked, "Do you know where their camp is?" Philip replied yes and announced Mathieu's determination to eliminate them all without mercy. Philip responded, "Yes, and we will be by your side, for they are the ones who killed our people and our children, but their numbers are many." Mathieu affirmed, "We do not care about their numbers, we will eliminate them all, but with extreme caution, and we will free all the captives from their hands." The dead were buried in the village, and the black flags were raised in all its corners. Then they took everything they needed and headed towards the nearest point of presence, Justin. Mathieu began to explore the place carefully. Every night in Gistin, they would beat drums and dance until dawn, while Mathieu watched them from a distance. Every morning, they would dig deep holes, while Mathieu was busy setting traps in various locations, carefully planning his revenge. One night, Mathieu noticed a carriage leaving the village of Gistin, accompanied by a number of guards. He followed them until they had distanced themselves a little, then launched his attack and killed all the guards, capturing the leader known as Kuya, who was in the carriage with his wife and child. At that point, his friends Adrian and Briden joined him. They said to Mathieu, "Why did you do that on your own and not inform us? We heard voices that hurried us here, but it seems that the matter has ended." Mathieu replied, "It seems that there is a valuable treasure." Then he ordered the leader Kuya to be brought out of the cart and asked him, "Who are you, and why are you attacking people in their villages and killing them?" He answered, "It is the orders of the leader Gistin to raid the villages, plunder their possessions, and trade in their women and children to gain money." Mathieu's order was to take his wife and daughter to a safe place, and the leader, Koya, informed him that he needed to have a spy in Justin's ranks, if he wanted his daughter and wife to remain alive. Mathieu inquired about the members of his village and their whereabouts, and Koya clarified that they had been taken to the slave market and sold in one of the fortresses. They had kept a woman believed to be named Anastasia, whom Justin was likely to present as a gift to one of the kings. Mathieu asked about the number of soldiers Justin had, and Koya answered that there were 3,000 fighters. Mathieu reported that he would return to the village and inform Justin that he had been attacked during the journey, and that he would attempt to withdraw the forces a little to search for his wife and daughter. Koya returned to the village and informed Justin about the presence of highwaymen who had ambushed him, where they killed the soldiers and kidnapped his wife and daughter. He expressed his deep frustration, indicating that no one has the right to dare to commit such acts in the lands he governs, and decided to send large forces. When they moved away a little, Mathieu and 3 of his companions headed in different directions to be able to disperse the forces. The companions set off, each on the back of his horse, heading in a specific direction. Mathieu, Adrian, and Briden stirred up dust and noise to attract the attention of most of the soldiers towards them. Then they led them to a large pit, where the soldiers fell in, which reduced their numbers. Mathieu, Adrian, and Briden were able to confront the remaining soldiers, where they managed to eliminate them. Philip was able to execute his plan skillfully, keeping the leader Koya far from revealing his identity as a spy, which gave him the opportunity to escape with a number of soldiers. The leader Koya returned with part of the soldiers to Justine, and informed him that many of the soldiers had met their end, and there remained of them only a small number alive. Justin was furious and asked them about the number of attackers. They replied that they were fierce fighters, but they did not know the exact number of these attackers. Justin's anger intensified, and he ordered all the fighters to prepare to go out to confront the killing of the soldiers, emphasizing to them not to return until the enemy was defeated. While they were leaving the village, Mathieu and his companions entered the village and succeeded in eliminating all the guards. They freed a group of prisoners, among them Elon, who informed him that Justin had taken Anastasia with him recently. Mathieu and his companions mounted their horses and headed towards an area near Justin. When they got closer, Mathieu shared a plan with his friends, where he explained that it was necessary to draw a limited number of fighters behind them and to split Justin's troops into 2 groups. As he issued his instructions to Philip and 2 of his companions to ascend the mountain. At the same time, Mathieu and his friends were planning to lure the enemies toward the lower path of the mountain. Mathieu and some of his companions began to execute the attack, where they charged toward the army of Justine and collided with the front lines, which led to the execution of the diversion plan as planned. Meanwhile, Justine issued his orders to the soldiers to continue the attack against them. The soldiers fell into traps and pits, and when they entered the mountain path, Mathieu gave his instructions to Philip to roll the rocks. The soldiers of Justine were hit by arrows, which resulted in the elimination of most of the soldiers, and the soldiers who survived Philip's and his companions' arrows were Matthew, Adrian, and Braden, who dealt with them. And only a few remained with Justine. Matteo and his companions were searching for Justine, and when they found him, Matteo said to Justine, "Your soldiers have all been killed, will you not strive to join them?" Koya approached Matteo and asked him, "Where are my wife and daughter?" Matteo replied, "Go to the village, you will find them there waiting for you." Koya took out a small box and a letter, and said, "I believe that Anastasia has come before King John, and this letter will be of help to you." Justine was angry with Koya and said to him, "You will not remain alive." Koya set off for the village. Meanwhile, Justine issued an order for the remaining soldiers to attack Matteo and his companions. And Justin fled while Matthew was pursuing him, and the fighting broke out between his companions and the soldiers. When Matthew reached Justin, a fierce battle ensued between them, during which Justin sustained severe wounds. Before Matthew could end his life, he asked him, "Where is Anastasia?" Justin replied, "Do not kill me, and I will tell you where she is." Matthew said, "Where is she?" Justin replied, "She was sent as a gift to King John's castle." Then Matthew, angry, stabbed him and said, "I knew you were a coward for killing children, women, and the elderly. I gave you safety with my words, but my conscience would not allow anything but your death." Matthew's friends arrived after he killed Justin, and decided to go to the castle. His friends expressed their fears, confirming that the mission seemed extremely difficult, as the royal castle was fortified and its guards were strengthened. However, Matthew expressed a different opinion, saying, "I believe we do not face the king." He decided to go with Adrian, while Ridden and Max would head with the others to the village of Justin, to take anyone who wishes to return to our village to revive it anew. Then Matthew headed towards the castle and requested to meet the king. When the king arrived, he introduced himself, saying that he had fought against Justin and his criminal soldiers. The king issued an order for his arrest, but Matthew and Adrian bravely defended themselves. Matthew said, "You must see what is inside this box." When the king's minister opened the box, he discovered that it contained a necklace belonging to his mother, the queen. The minister asked, "Where did you get this box from?" He replied, "The leader Kuya gave it to me, and it came with a letter containing answers to all the questions." And when the king opened the letter, he found therein conclusive evidence proving Justine's conspiracy against his children and their murder along the way. The king said, "This truth has remained buried for many long years, and we believed that the lord of the castle in the neighboring lands was responsible for my son's death. Perhaps we were deceived by Justine." Then the king expressed his gratitude to Matthew for eliminating the deceitful Justine. Matthew replied, saying that Justine had sent him a gift, which was his fiancée named Anastasia. The king answered, "No one has arrived here." Then he issued an order to the soldiers to search for Anastasia in the lands of his kingdom, but to no avail. However, the king ordered the soldiers to search for all the people of Matthew's village, who were sold in the slave market in his kingdom, to set them free and return them to their village. On the way back, Matthew noticed the soldiers tying up a woman in the cart. His friend Adrian informed him that she was Anastasia. Matthew approached the soldiers and asked them, "Are you the soldiers of Justine?" A large-built man replied, "Yes," which then led to a fierce battle between Matthew and the soldiers. The fighting was intense, but Matthew and Adrian managed to defeat them. Matthew approached Anastasia, who was tied up in the cart with her eyes closed. When he untied her and she opened her eyes, she said, "My heart has not been illuminated since the sorrows of that day, but your presence has brightened this universe for me." They then headed to the village, and Matthew issued orders to remove the black flags. We hope for your support and participation in our channel so that we can always provide the best.